Jones for sports. We make sports better.
What's good, y'all? It's your boy Jones here on Jones for Sports. And week 2 of the NFL season has concluded, and there's a lot to talk about. Not going to get into all of that. Going to save that for the podcast coming up sometime this week. But just going to give you my quick thoughts on that. Obviously, the big news from week 2 is the 2 injuries to 2 of the best quarterbacks in the league. One going to Drew Brees in the Saints, and the second going to Big Ben in the Steelers. Now, my question is, who's going to be affected more from this injury, whether it be the Saints or Big Ben? And obviously, you would have to say Big Ben because he's out for the whole season, and Drew Brees is coming back in 6 weeks, at least 6 weeks. But it's still hard to say who this will affect more because, I mean, I don't even know who the Steelers' backup is, to be honest. But as far as the Saints goes, Teddy Bridgewater is a good quarterback. He was a starting quarterback for the Vikings for a few years, and then he got injured and landed with the Saints afterwards. I think he's a good quarterback, but from what I've seen on Sunday, he definitely needs some work with his receivers because there wasn't real good chemistry between them. It seemed like he was forcing a lot of the passes to Thomas and things like that. So he's got to, in this next week, really get into chemistry with his receivers because if not, they're going to have a tough season. Those 6 games or however long Drew Brees is going to be out, they're going to have to figure it out because if they want to get back to the Super Bowl, or not get back, but get to the Super Bowl after they were robbed. By the way, they were robbed one play in that game on Sunday, again, by these refs. Some got to give with that because shit is looking a little fishy. But, I give Teddy Bridgewater a better opportunity if he can get on the same page with his receivers. He's going to have to do it now because in this league, you can't, take weeks off because the player's not here at the time. You got to win, especially to try to get to the playoffs. You got to win now. As far as the Steelers goes, like I said, I don't know who their quarterback is. Their backup quarterback. I don't know if it's that dude that's been there for years or whatever. And if it is, then they should be okay. Based off of what I've seen this season, Big Ben didn't look like Big Ben of last year, who led the league in passing yards, I'm pretty sure. He didn't look like that. The chemistry was off, especially in the first game. The start of the second game didn't look too pretty either. But he didn't play much of that game, so who knows. But my big question is, this might be the end for Big Ben. Now, I know he's still got another year on his contract, but he's contemplated retirement before, so I wouldn't be surprised if he does it again after this injury. Especially, I guess you got to see how this season plays out. If this team doesn't look like they're gonna get back to the playoffs or have a chance of doing it next year, then it might be the time for him to just give it up. He automatic a Hall of Famer. In the record books, has done things that no quarterback in this league has ever done. So I wouldn't blame him if he decides to hang it up. Great career. You're going to the Hall of Fame. You'll be fine. Maybe you didn't end it the way you wanted to with the injury and how things played out with AB and things like that, but I think everyone would be fine if you went out just the way you did because you don't have anything else to prove. So that's my thoughts. And the rest, I guess I'll just get into that. Oh, before I actually get off, I want to get into last night's game. The Browns and the Jets. The Browns winning. I don't know if this was the final score, but I know I left after 23-3. Browns winning that game. A lot went on in that game. The Jets had their backup quarterback, Simeon or whatever, and then he goes down in the first or second quarter, and they had to bring in their backup, Frank or something like that, and he didn't play too bad. He made some passes down the field that weren't too bad, but their offense really just couldn't get going. But overall, my view of the game, even though the Browns won pretty easily, if the Jets were healthy, like fully healthy, I think they could have won that game, honestly, because they hung around for a long time. It took the Browns a long time to really get started. Like, until that Odell 89-yard touchdown, the Browns were in that game. The Jets were in that game despite the score. The Jets were in it. So, I know this is tough for the Jets fan. I don't know what they're going to do as far as getting the quarterback to finish off the season. But it looks like it's a lost season for you guys if, you guys can't get healthy. But Bell, he looks great. He carried that team. Even with a loss, he carried that team pretty well. So hats off to him to getting back after a year. And he looks good. But if I were the Browns, I would be worried. Let me just say that. They did not look good against a defeated Jets team. They didn't look good. So I don't know who they play next week, but they better tighten it up because all those expectations that these fans are putting on y'all and whatever the case may be is real. So y'all got to clean some shit up and start making some moves. But that's my thoughts. What are your thoughts? It's your boy Jones. Peace.